Guild Wars 2 has such a clean user interface and beautiful world to explore, but some can't enjoy them because they don't have a good enough PC or can't find the options that would meet their preferences. The purpose of this video is to provide the best setup for new players looking to optimize their experience and offer some options for customizing the UI to better fit your preferences. Remember that any of the changes I suggest in this video are for allowing you more control, but if you're working in unideal circumstances, you can enable some of the options to automate things, which would be better if you're physically unable to do that. If this video helps you, consider subscribing, liking the video, sharing the video, or supporting me further with the links below. Also, if you're looking for more advanced options and keybinds, check out my intermediate mechanics video, also linked in the description. When you first get into Guild Wars 2, your game will look like this. And while it's certainly not bad, to me, a veteran of the game, it can be a bit distracting with the camera shaking, the lack of convenient keybinds which makes doing combined actions difficult, and the screen is decently cluttered. The default options may be more accessible at first, but you'll definitely want to change them later on. So let's transform the experience step by step, starting with the general options. The in-game clock can show your current time zone's time. It can show the server time, which is just Greenwich Universal Time, or it can show Tyrian time. Most maps in Guild Wars 2 have a day-night cycle, and some events occur during the night or day. So having Tyrian time enabled can be useful in some situations. The content guide is in the top right of the screen. It can give an idea of where things are happening and point towards them with an arrow. If you're ever unsure of what to do, you can use this to help you level up as you progress through the maps and the story. As someone who knows what to do and where to go, I always turn this off because it's extra clutter that I don't ever use. But if you're new, it can help you for sure. But for me, I like to turn this off. AoE looting and auto loot are a nice convenience because you want to minimize the amount of clicking you need to do when killing many enemies. But for players who want more control and awareness of the loot they receive, they can turn these off. Once you learn the mastery for auto loot, advanced logistics, you can automatically loot everything so you'll never miss anything. Show all enemy names shows anything you can attack, but also show all usable objects is very important. This is very helpful for finding achievement objectives and in general knowing what is there. But it can clutter your screen with more text. If you prefer immersion over this great tool, then you can turn this off, but I turn it on. NPC, player, party, and squad names are self-explanatory. Show skill recharge shows the absolute time left until the skill recharges on top of the relative animation, which gives you more information and doesn't really clutter anything, so it's always better. Show target health percent gives you more information about the target's health, since many bosses trigger phases at certain health percentages and skills or traits trigger at specific health thresholds. This information is valuable. Simple condition floaters will show each individual stack of a condition damage, which can clutter the screen more. Disabling this will combine all of your condition damage sources into one number, which takes up less of the screen. Next is the relatively newer feature of the dynamic HUD. This allows you to customize if and when certain parts of the UI show. Most players have everything shown always, but a little nuance can really improve your gameplay. You can turn off some parts of the UI or make them show conditionally whenever you're in combat or not. Personally, I turn off the menu bar in combat because it's not needed and sometimes I'll misclick on it. But when out of combat, I still want to see if I have mails, though you could turn it off entirely if you wish. Skill bars are pretty important to see cooldowns and effects, but for a more immersive experience, you could remove this and many other parts of the UI. The objectives and compass are pretty important for events and even PvP, so I leave them on, but rewards are not always relevant to the gameplay you're engaged in. If you're obsessive about the bouncy chests appearing above your compass, you can hide them by disabling rewards entirely. When enough of those rewards stack up, they will automatically be sent to your inventory, but you can also use the Show Ally Names keybind to briefly show them when you want. And that's in the keybind section here. You can go down to Miscellaneous, Show Ally Names. The rest I leave on, even though the chat panel is looking pretty intrusive right now, because we can do specific customizations to make it blend, so we don't need to hide it. The camera is an important part of your experience, because your point of view can be constrained to give you tunnel vision, but also learning to control your camera independently to your character can allow you to gain much more information while not impacting your character's movement. Rotation speed is good in the middle, but can also be affected by your mouse DPI. Find what works for you. Horizontal position should be centered mostly unless you want a more cinematic POV, but vertical position, I like to have it lowered to allow you to see things coming up from behind your character, even if you aren't looking that way. Collision sensitivity is a good thing they added to prevent your camera from being obscured, but if you don't want your camera moving automatically when terrain is obstructing it, you can move it to the right. Zoom sensitivity is just going to make your mouse wheel zoom you faster. It's preference really. Field of view can give you more information, but can be hard to see specific animations and detail. For this reason, I like to put it on max, but then use my mouse wheel to scroll in for situations when I need to see more closely. Camera shake can make the combat look more intense, but I prefer to keep it off because the shaking can make you dizzy and distract you. Camera teleportation makes the camera instantly move when you teleport, so there's no delay between when you see your new location and when you arrive to it. I would turn this on to get the newer information faster, but for a more cinematic feel, you can turn it off. Free camera prevents your camera from automatically returning to behind your character after moving it. Turn this on if you want much more control of your character and camera independently. With free camera enabled, the left mouse button will turn your camera without moving your character, and your right mouse button will move your character and align it with your camera. So when you want more information, you want to use the left mouse button, and then when you want to move your character, use the right. However, controlling both of these requires a lot of practice, and while it is optimal in competitive play, action camera can give you a more third-person RPG feel that requires less input for the results it gets. And you can get to your action camera here by enabling a keybind for action camera. Action camera will combine your movement and your camera so that there are less inputs required to move and see where you're going, but it also removes a lot of your control to see independently as a result. And it even complicates ground targeted abilities because you have to move in the direction that you want to be throwing them at. So it just really makes you predictable and you lose a lot of the control. So I don't suggest using it unless you're using like a full melee build or you're mechanically limited. Ground targeting skills have an area of effect shown when you place them. Normally when you use these skills, you cast them and then confirm the location you want to cast them at. This is 2 key presses, which can slow you down and cause you to work much harder than you need to. Fast, with range indicator, cast the skill when letting go of the button, so it only needs 1 key press rather than 2. Instant ground targeting is even less. It will instantly use the skill as soon as you press the key down and not when you let go of it. But you do lose the range indicators, so it's not ideal for players who don't know the exact ranges of their skills. It can be used very well with some builds that use ground targets a lot for aiming them more precisely, but otherwise, fast ground targeting is usually the best, assuming everything is keybinded. Remove double tap to evade so you can get a good dodge keybind. Double tapping will hurt you more than help you because you can't move in one direction and then dodge in another. Remove auto targeting so you can get use out of leaps and movement skills. You can detarget by left clicking in open space or pressing escape, or by going to the targeting keybind, lock auto target, and that will detarget your current target. Melee attack assist will prevent you from running through your target, so you can always be facing them, but that is extremely limiting to how you can control your character, so I disable it. Lock ground target at maximum skill range is important because it allows you to reliably get the maximum range of your skills, even though you may not precisely target them. As you can see, the skill locks at the maximum range and doesn't go any further, even though I'm aiming it further. So if I want to use a skill anywhere below max range, I aim exactly where I want. But if I want it at max range, I raise my cursor quickly and much further, so I don't need to waste time finding the exact range, and that allows me to get the maximum distance every single time. Snap ground target to current target can help you aim skills at your target by moving the skill range to the target regardless of where your mouse is. But if you need to use the skill away from the target to lead them on due to how quickly the target is moving, or you want to hit in between the target to hit multiple targets, you'll want to have more freedom to target. So I disable this. Skill retargeting will allow you to change which target you are hitting with channeled abilities, or to redirect skills by changing which target they are heading towards. This is great for split decision making and not wasting skills, so I enable it. Skill highlighting will just light up your combo finishers when you're in a combo field, but it's generally not a good idea to just spam finishers just because you're in a field. So it's best to be aware and use them deliberately for intended effects. So I check this to disable skill highlighting. Team colors will make all of the dies of a specific team the same color. In PvP, there's red and blue team, and in World v World, there's also green team. If someone is on green team, then all of their colors would look green, so you can more easily identify who is a friend or who is a foe. Standard enemy models is like team colors, but for character models. All the races of Tyria have different animations, and some may be harder or easier to see and react to. By enabling this, you will make every player of a specific class have the same skins and animations, so you can easily learn and recognize what is going on in a fight and react to it. However, I don't like to enable this because I play video games for fun, and a lot of the fun to me is seeing the individuality of the players I fight. But if you really want to improve your performance, then definitely enable it. With simple nameplates enabled, instead of seeing their entire names, you'll see their guild tag and what color and shape that their server is represented by, making it a lot easier for you to see who is who without having to read through all of the text and clutter your screen with more text. The rest are kind of preference or for immersion, but the simple party UI will reduce a lot of the clutter when you're in party. It doesn't show you their portraits or every single buff they have on them. It just shows their class, health, and what boons or conditions are on them, which is really the only information you need. Graphical options are more about what gets you the best performance, which varies, but I'll try to detail what works for me. You can have the game on windowed full screen, which is what I normally do. Full screen may improve your performance, but you could just close every other program on your computer for a similar effect. Windowed mode may be weird, but it can drastically improve your performance if you're getting really bad frames. The game will run much more smoothly the smaller you make the window, but it will of course be harder to see the more you do this. You can increase or decrease the interface size as well if you struggle to see it even on windowed full screen mode. And when you've got larger like this, it gets really big. So if you've got issues with seeing small things, you got bad eyes, then you definitely want to increase your interface size. Or if you've got like a huge monitor and like extremely widescreen, then yeah, you want that larger UI. DX11 can improve your performance in many ways, but your computer may not be able to support it and you'll want to stick to DX9. I only disable this for now because it's still in beta, but in the future this option may not be optional. Shadows and reflections will give you little benefit for how much they affect performance. Reflections will render sometimes underneath the map because there's a layer of water beneath them even though you can't see it. I just put both of these to none. LOD means limit of detail. So limiting the detail of objects in the distance can help the game cut corners by not working so hard to detail things you may not even be paying attention to since they're far away. I keep this on medium to low. Render sampling, you want to always have it on native. The render quality is indistinguishable between super sample and native, but super sample is way more work for your PC. Subsample isn't really worth it because it makes the game very blurry and doesn't improve performance that much. For the purposes of this video recording, I put it on super sample so that it will be clear when I zoom in. So for the average play, you want to have it on native, but if you're a massive montage creator with your big zooms, then you want to try out super sample. Shaders will improve the way your game looks overall, but some may argue that medium shaders look more realistic than high shaders, since high shaders make things look sort of like a studio where they're all shiny and have perfect lighting. Same thing with post-processing. When it's on high, it can make snowy areas way too bright, so I like to put post-processing on low and shaders on medium. But if you want a brighter game, then crank these up. Character model quality and limit will lower the quality of other characters rendered or will not even render them at all. Putting limit to lowest and quality to low is, in my opinion, the best for world versus world because it reduces a lot of the lag. But if you put quality to lowest, then a lot of the animations of the other players will be indistinguishable and it's really hard to play that way. So I like to put the quality on low, which you'll still be able to interact with other players then. And you can see here, if I target one of these players, it will actually render them automatically even though they're out of the render distance. So I can render things that I want to see, but unless I'm in the immediate vicinity of them, it doesn't render them. But if you do want to see everything and you want to put these on high, you can do that and you'll see a lot more. Ambient occlusion just makes grass and similar things more detailed with contrast. Depth blur isn't really needed. Effect LOD is like character model limit and quality, but for skills and effects. I like to keep this on to remove a lot of the unnecessary spell effects that my teammates put on the ground. You really don't need to see the 7 different fire fields in PvE, or that your firebrand is spamming mantras in World v World. You'll still see enemy effects, but some of the less important ones will be filtered out. If you're dying to things you can't see, then you may want to turn Effect LOD off, but most of the time it helps me, so I use it. And the rest explains itself. Sound is mostly preference, but if something is annoying you, like the constant phrases characters say when they get a boon or an achievement, you can disable player chatter. You can also turn down player instrument volume or unique item sounds to minimize the noise around you, as well as turn down the effects volume, which can become a racket during larger fights. These are the main things that I would turn down if you feel like the game is overwhelming you with sounds. For keybinds, it's really about what works for you so long as you can keybind everything and you don't need to click skills. Keybinding strafe instead of turn will give you more control in combination with free camera. Get all of your utility skills on the same side of the keyboard so you aren't struggling to press any of your keybinds. If you want to see my keybinds, I'll briefly scroll through them here. And if you want more detail on the more advanced keybinds, check out the intermediate mechanics video in the description. That's most of the work, but there's still other ways to customize your UI. You can drag the map smaller or larger, and if you drag it far enough up, you can reposition it to the top side of the screen and put the objectives below it. The same thing can be done with the chat panel. It can swap with the party menu if you grab it by the top. The chat panel itself can be customized too. Make it smaller or larger by dragging the edges. Make it transparent by clicking the arrow in the bottom left. Go to the cogwheel to change the text size, or to enable timestamps to know when things were said, and a channel tag which will allow colorblind people to know what's being said in which channel. You can also turn off in-world bubbles if you're not into the RP. I stream Guild Wars 2 and often have people looking for attention, so I like to be able to control what is seen on my screen. So I disable the bubbles, but most people I think use them. You can also create chat channels to better organize what you see. I like to create a chat channel with most things in it as my main channel. Then I have a combat log, which just has the combat information if I want to see that. Then I like to have a whispers tab, so I can name this PST, which essentially represents whisper. And then you can only put in whispers here, and then you can make it flash on unread messages so that when you do get a PM, you know to check the tab. It'll make the text red here when it's got a new message there. And then I like to have a tab called silence, which is where I turn everything off, and I can go in here when I want to record a video without being disturbed, or if I'm going into PvP and don't want people backseating me. The last thing I'll cover is the customization of your inventory. You can stretch it horizontally or vertically depending on what you want the shape to be. Some like to hide it in the corner of their screen so they can have it open while playing to use consumables or manage their inventory quickly, but I just keep it in the center. You can show item rarity, which gives each item its own outline color depending on whether it is a rare, exotic, or legendary item, so you can easily distinguish items without adding any extra clutter. So you can see here the exotic has an orange glow, the legendary has purple. New item highlights will help you to find items you just picked up by highlighting every item you earned since the last time you opened your bags. Show bags will separate each individual bag if you have special bags that you don't want items getting into where they don't belong. But since I don't organize my bags very strictly, I just hide bags and have one gigantic inventory. Separate shared inventory slots though. While these are not all the ways you can customize your game, this is a good start for most players. Once again, if you want further information, then check out the links below and support me if you like with the links there as well. Having said that, I will see you all next time.